Hello.
Hi,
Good evening. How are you today?
uh, teacher, I can hear the sound.
Yeah, I'm speaking.
I can hear the sound.
Can you hear me?
Um, I hear that it's very low.
It's small. I speak like usual, but I don't know why. Can you check your volume?
Um, okay, I can hear that.
Okay, that's much better. Okay, just you overslept last lesson.
Yeah, I can hear it right
Yeah. How are you today?
now. I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I just share my screen. Can you see my share screen?
Yes, I can.
Good. Okay, so now today we're gonna move on to uh the next lesson, which is about reading. Okay, today we're gonna read a strange than fiction. Okay, we're gonna discuss this text. And after this reading lesson, I hope that you can understand this text about the real animals, which people thought were myths. Okay, so this is the content of the reading text, Stranger Than Fictions. Okay, so before we discover this text, we're gonna learn some vocabulary as well as read this paragraph. Okay. For the first task, can you read the paragraph here and then answer the questions below? We have two questions. Okay. Read this one first and then answer the questions.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So read this one already. Okay, now tell me what is a myth?
Uh, the myth, I think, is the animals were not real.
The myth. So a myth is not the animals, but a myth is kind of a story. Okay. The story, the myth is
The story is the animal.
it's actually not about the animal, but it's kind of a story that was not real. Yeah. So a myth is, we can see it here. A myth is the story. Okay, you can see it in this sentence. In most people's opinion, these stories were just myths. The animal, it means that the animals were not real. Okay, so it means that it is the stories that people believe that it isn't real. Okay, it isn't actually true. Um, Kind of a lot of people don't believe it, but some people believe it, kind of like that. Okay, so let me make it easier. So we call a myth is a story that some people believe, but it isn't actually true. Just some people believe, but some people don't believe it, and it isn't actually true. Myth còn gọi là thần thoại, kiểu có người thì sẽ tin nhưng có người sẽ không tin, thì ta gọi nó là thần thoại, kiểu nó không thực sự là đúng nhưng mà một số người lại tin thì nó có thật trong lịch sử, kiểu như thế. Okay.
Okay.
But it isn't true. It isn't actually true. Okay, so what were people wrong about?
I think they were wrong about the animals were real.
Yeah, they were wrong because the animal were real. Okay, so people were wrong about some animal were real. Some animal being myth, and the animal were real. Okay, so that is some information about the myth, which kind of the content in this kind of reading text. Okay, now so let's learn some vocabulary here. So we have quite a lot of new words for today. Okay, so the first word we have is myth. We just learned here. Okay,
Myth.
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 Myth is a story from ancient times, and especially that was told to explain the natural events or to describe the early history of a people. Kiểu như nó là một cái thần thoại của một cái người nào đấy hoặc là một cái loài nào đấy trong lịch sử. Okay. Let me find kind of a myth. Kind of in Vietnamese, we do you know some myths in Vietnam?
Myth in Vietnam.
Like something thủy tinh is a myth, kind of like that. Or Lạc Long Quân and Ochre is also kind of a myth. Or con rồng cháu tiên is also kind of a myth. But they, some people believe it, but some people don't believe it, and it isn't actually true. But some people prove it. Okay, so that is kind of natural events, okay, in the history. Did you fully understand, or you feel kind of confused about the myth?
I understand.
Okay, good. The next word we have is sailor.
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 Sailor. Sailor is a person who works on a ship as a member of crew. Sailor còn có nghĩa là thủy thủ. A person who works on a ship.
Okay.
The next one is habitat.
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 Habitat is the place where a particular type of animal or a plant is normally found. Gọi là môi trường sống of a particular animal or plant. Fauna or flora.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, we have the next word is giant.
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 Giant means very large, very huge, and very big. It's, okay, the next word is explorer.
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 Explorer is the people who travel to unknown places in order to find out or to discover more about that place. Okay, so the explorer will travel to unknown places and then they will find out more information and discover like the treasure of that place. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. The next one we have is Okapi.
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 Okapi is an animal, an African animal, and it belongs to the same family as giraffe, but it has smaller, it is smaller than the giraffe, and it has a dark body with white lines across the legs. It is kind of similar to the giraffe, but it is smaller. And its body is dark and they have some white lines across the legs. Can you imagine that animal?
No.
Okay, so let me show you this kind of animal. So we have Okapi. So this is the Okapi. It has the white lines across his legs. Can you see that? It's smaller and lower than the giraffe. Yours.
Okay.
So that is the Okapi. Yeah. Okay, so the next word we have is the description. Description, you know already, because we discussed this one a lot. We have to
Description.
Description.
Description. Do you know what description means? Description. is kind of a writing that says it means, let me write it here. Let me write it here. Okay. Yes, the next word we have is type. A type is like a kind. For example, a type, it is a it definition is a group of people or things that share the particular qualities, and it is a kind of, a type of means a kind of. Let me find an example for you to understand, because when I say the t-shirt is a type of clothes, or you can say a t-shirt is a kind of clothes. Yeah. Or orange juice is a type of juice. Tomato sauce is a kind of a type of sauce. Type có nghĩa là loại. Okay, you can say a type of or a kind of, both. You can say both.
Okay.
Okay, the next verb we have the verb crush. The crush, can you say?
Crash.
Crush.
Crush.
Crush means to hit something very hard while moving. Okay, for example, two cars crushed, or a car crushed to a motorbike. I mean, the car hit the motorbike very hard. Okay.
Okay.
The next word we have is survive.
Survive.
Survive means to continue to live or to continue to exist. Okay. And the next one we have is lizard. Lizard, you know lizard?
Yes.
Okay, so a lizard is a reptile with long body and tail. Okay, so lizard is kind of familiar with this. Okay, so these are all the new words for today's lesson. We have some kind of very hard here. We have myth, we have sailor, we have habitat, we have giant, and we have explorer. And this one is kind of easier because the description we know, the type, and which I think you just don't know about the crush and survive. Okay, but Okapi is the new word, but it is just a type of animal. Okay. Okay, now let's practice this one. Now we have 4 animals here. Okay, can you see it? So you are going to look at the heading here from four types of animals here, and you will match them with the photos from A to D. We have 4 photos and we have 4 types of animals.
Mm.
Can you put them in the correct picture?
The picture A is the Komodo dragon.
Picture A is, yeah, it's Komodo dragon. Good. Picture B,
Picture B is the Okapi.
yeah, it's Okapi. Picture picture C,
You see, is gorilla.
it is a gorilla. Picture D,
And picture D is giant squid.
giant squid. Okay, we have 4 type animals here. Okay, so we have 4 type of animal. We have Komodo dragon, we have Okapi, we have gorilla, and we have giant squid. Okay. Okay, so here we have the main part of today's lesson, which is reading. Okay, so we have a reading strategy here, which means some kind of tips for you to do the reading text, to the reading comprehension. We did discuss a lot of reading strategies, how to do the matching heading task, how to do the filling in the blank, or how to do the true false not given one. And today we're gonna do a multiple choice task. Okay, it means that you have to choose the correct correct answer for each question. For multiple choice mean you can have 3 choices or 4 choices in a question, and you have to choose one correct answer from among 3 or 4. Okay, this is the multiple choice. You have A, B, C, D. You have 4 answers, and then you have to read the text and then choose the most correct one.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is one question. This is one multiple choice question. You have 3 answers here, and you are going to read the text and then choose one correct answer from those answers here. Okay, so this is the we have multiple choice task, multiple choice question, and remember that only one option is true. This is for the multiple choice task, but this kind of task is true or false one, which is you have to decide what is true and what is false. The true, if it is true, it means that the text will mention about this one, but it is false. The text will mention about this one, but the information is wrong. It's opposite to the content of the text.
Okay.
Okay, so we have the first one. The first people to describe a giant squid were we have A, B, and C. Okay, so read the first paragraph here. And then you're going to decide which statement is true and which statement is false. Did you finish?
Okay.
Okay, so you read this reading text and you're going to decide which one that you decide it is true and it is false. And then finally, you're going to choose the correct answer from among three answers here. Okay, so we have the answer A. The first people to describe a giant squid were the ancient Greeks. It is true or false?
I think is phones.
You think it is false? Okay, so first you're going to decide which one is true, which one is false. Okay, and how about the answer B, which it is true or false?
Oh,
It is false as well?
it's false.
False, okay. How about C?
You see, I think it's true.
Okay, so C must be true. Now let's read the text again, and then we're gonna check if it is true or not. Okay, so we have the ancient Greeks, the first people to describe a giant squid were the ancient Greeks. In ancient Greek times, there were stories about huge sea monsters with very long arms. The similar stories appeared in the Middle Ages, and these monsters lived in a very deep water, but sometimes they attacked sailors. Okay, so the story about giant squid appeared in the Middle Ages in ancient Greek times. Okay, you can see that in ancient Greek times there were stories about huge sea monsters. Huge sea monsters with very long arms is giant squid. Okay, and this kind of story appeared in the Middle Ages, and it appeared in the Middle Ages in ancient Greek times. So I think that the first people to describe the giant squid were the ancient Greeks. Okay, can you see that here? In ancient Greek times, there were stories about giant squid. That means the giant squid were appeared in ancient Greek times. Yes? Okay, now let's look at the answer B. The sailors in the Middle Ages. Okay, so these monsters lived in very deep water, but sometimes they attacked sailors. Okay, so they attack sailors, not the sailor to describe the giant squid, but they just attack sailor.
Yeah.
Okay, we have answer B, two fishermen in 1873. Okay, for hundreds of years, scientists were not sure, but that changed in 1873. A giant squid attacked a small boat near the east coast of North America. The fishermen in the boat used an axe to cut off two of the giant squid's arms. So the giant squid attacked two fishermen in 1873, not the fishermen described the giant squid. Okay, so I think the most correct answer here must be A. The first people who described a giant squid were the ancient Greeks, because in ancient Greek times, there were stories about the giant squids in the Middle Ages. Okay, so the A must be true, and B and C must be false. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that is kind of one way to do the multiple choice question. You are going to decide which one is true and which one is false. You're gonna look from the bottom to the from the top to the bottom of the text, and then read which one is true and which one is false. That is pretty long for a multiple choice question. Okay, so we have the second task here. So you have to read all of the text, means 4 paragraphs here. very long. Okay,
Yeah.
and you read this one and then circle the correct answers from A to C. Okay. So this kind of text, we have 4 questions. And first, let's do the first 2 questions here.
Mm.
Okay, read the text and then decide which one is the correct answer.
Teacher, can you translate for me? What is the release in the question?
Realized. We have realized. Okay, just let me a minute.
Realize.
Realize.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Okay, you finish? Do you choose the correct? Do you read all the text?
I read the transcript in gorillas.
Yeah, good. Okay, so just let's just do the first two questions here. Okay, so for number one, which one that you think it is true?
I think this is C.
You choose E,
C.
you choose C.
B.
So C or B?
Mm,
B?
B.
Okay, B. You know, you seems that you're not sure. For question B, for question two,
A.
uh, ancient Greeks. Okay. Okay, now let's read for the first text, for the first paragraph first about giant squid. Okay, so the question is, people finally realized giant squid were real. Okay, so we're gonna find the keyword. We have, we have the first keyword is giant squid. The second keyword is real. The third keyword is when. Okay, so we're gonna find three words here. So giant squid, which is related to giant squid, okay, were real. So I can see one here. Today, everyone knows that giant squid are real. Okay, so and let's see when did people finally realize that giant squid are real? Okay. We have the first answer is stories from the Middle Ages match the story from ancient Greeks. Okay. So, I don't see any information related to this kind of answers. The story from the Middle Ages. Okay, the story appear in Middle Ages and the stories from the ancient Greeks. Okay, so no information about giant squid were real, related to the stories from Middle Ages and the stories from ancient Greeks. Okay, and I see it. So the keywords is in this sentence. So we're gonna look at the front, the in front of the front question, the front sentence, and the sentence that after that. Okay. Today everyone knows that giant squid are real, but people very rarely see them. In fact, only one video exists of giant squid in its natural habitat. Okay, so in fact, only one video exists of a giant squid in its natural habitat. But it doesn't mention that after watching one video of a giant squid, and then people believe, and then people knows that giant squid are real. Okay, but after people know that giant squid are real, and it is just the further information about the exist of a giant squid. Okay, so I think let's see the answer B. Some fishermen show the arms of a giant squid to scientists. Okay, so we can see the fisherman here. The fisherman in the boat used an axe to cut off two of a giant squid arms. They show the arms to the scientist at a local museum, and the scientists were amazed. Okay. So after they showed the arms to the scientists, and then the scientists were amazed. And then today, everyone knows that giant squid are real. Okay, so the answer here must be B. Okay. Now let's see question number 2. Who first used the word gorilla? Okay, so we have ancient Greeks, Africans, and Germans. Let's see ancient Greeks. About 2,500 years ago, an ancient Greek explorer called Hano traveled to Africa. On one island near the coast, there were a group of strange people with hair on their faces and bodies. Okay, he asked local people for information about them. They were gorilla, they answered. Okay, so this is gorilla, not gorilla, I think. These people were violent, bad-tempered, and very strong. And for hundreds of years, they were similar stories about strange creatures in the forest of Africa. The first scientific description of gorillas only appeared in 19th century, and mountain gorillas were a complete mystery until a German soldier discovered them. Okay, so about ancient Greeks. Okay, so ancient Greeks. Okay, so the ancient Greek explorer traveled to Africa. Okay. On one island. Okay, so we have an explorer traveled to Africa, but he didn't use the word gorilla, but the people that use the gorilla is here. He asked the local people for information about them, and the local people answer gorilla. This is not the answer of him, but the local people. Okay, he is just an explorer that traveled to Africa, and then he asked the local people in Africa. Means the local people in Africa mean the Africans. The people that live in Africa is called Africans. And the Africans answered gorilla. Okay, so it's not the ancient Greeks. It is just an explorer. And we have German soldier just discovered them in 1902. Not the first people that used the word gorilla. You can see it here. An ancient Greek explorer traveled to Africa, and then he asked the local people about in Africa for more information about them, and the Africans answered gorilla here. They answered here means the African answered. Okay, not the ancient Greek explorer, but the Africans. Okay, so the first use the word gorilla would be Africans. Okay, do you understand?
Mm,
Yeah,
not
it's quite hard for you, I think, for the first time to do the multiple choice question. Okay, so I think that today we just finished with the first two questions, and for the next lesson we're gonna finish two of them and then both here. Okay, we have a long, which is very long, and the time is over now. So I think that we're gonna we're gonna end our lesson here today. Okay, do you have any questions?
um oh oh no.
Okay, so if you don't have any question, we're gonna end our lesson today. Okay, thank you. See you
Okay.
next time.
Thank you too. See you next time.
See you.